Hey everyone, Justine here, the Twilight Stamper, and today I'm going to be creating a card featuring primarily die cutting and JessicaLynnOriginal.com stamps, and I learned this technique in Stretch Your Dies from onlinecardclasses.com. I'm going to start off by taking the Hillside Borders die cut from Lawn Fun, and I'm going to be doing many layers of paper. I'm starting off with the Colonial White Close to My Heart paper and cutting out this border here. I'm then going in with Authentic Classique Beauty paper pack and various patterned paper from that 6x6 paper pack, and I'm cutting them twice so that they have this and in the same direction. So the die cut is always going in the same direction, and this is going to allow me to be able to create different layers of die cutting, but actually only on one layer, and I'm going to show you how I do that. And lastly, I'm going to go in with this Colonial White again, and you're going to see that I've cut them all out and they all fit perfectly into each other. So taking some Tombow Mono liquid adhesive and a piece of just regular old computer paper, I'm just going to put these die cuts down and I'm going to glue them so that they all fit nicely into each other. When I finished gluing them down, I took this stitched tag from My Favorite Things, and I'm going to be die cutting that as well. But first I need to cut down the computer paper because that won't fit in through my cuttle bag. So I just cut around that on the computer paper and fed it through my die cutting machine. Now I have this beautiful tag and it's all one layer and it looks like a piece of patterned paper, but it's really intricate with many designs. So you've kind of just created your own paper. Now I'm taking this cream color cardstock from Simon Says Stamp and I'm creating my card base, which is a top folding card that measures 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Next I'm going to focus on my stamping. I'm going to be using this stamp set, the Mason Jar stamp set from JessicaLynnOriginal.com, and I'm taking a scrap piece of cream colored cardstock. This one is from Close to My Heart. I just had a scrap on hand, and I'm going to be inking up the Mason jar and some other of the stamps here, and I used some Versamark Onyx ink. Now I think you have to heat set this when you're using it with Copic markers, which I didn't, so I got a little bit of smearing because this is a brand new ink which I was just testing out, but overall you can't really tell. I just had to be careful when I was coloring, so I do recommend using maybe the Memento black ink instead. But my Memento ink is kind of running low these days, so that's the reason why I used that one. So I stamped the Mason jar, and then I decided to add the candle and the sentiment onto the little tag that's there. And I was able to pick those up and stamp those using my Fiskars stamp press at the same time. I went in and did some minimal Copic coloring using Y11, Y13, and Y17. I colored a little bit of a glare using N0 and the top using N4. I then went in with the same yellow colors and I went in and colored sort of the ribbon here. And as you can see, my ink did smear just slightly because I didn't dry that or let it dry long enough. I went in with the candle and I used N4, N2, and N0 to create different layers on that. Next I went in with the stitched rectangle die from Simon Says Stamp, and I decided to cut out that mason jar using this die cut, and the stitching also is again influenced in the die cutting we did before, and I wanted to keep that nice and simple. So I fed that through my die cutting machine and then was able to incorporate the stitching again. The next thing I did was take this tag and I cut it out, I punched a little hole in it, and fed through some silver ribbon. This is some retired ribbon from Stampin' Up, I believe I got it, and I got it from my Christmas cards. And I thought that the silver worked and was pretty subtle with this card. I cut off the ribbons and then with my scissors, and then it was good to go. I decided to add some Tombow Mono glue to this so that it laid flat and it wasn't too 3D on the card. Next up, I took a piece of patterned paper and I attached that to the mason jar stamp image that we did earlier. This paper is also from the Authentic Classique Beauty paper pack, so it all coordinates really well with the tag that we created. I I added some 3D foam tape dots to the stamped image and removed those and attached that on an angle to my card. Next I went in with some mini glue dots and I attached them to this film strip embellishment, and then I attached that to my card. I made sure to do my best to hide the glue dots behind the black areas of the film strip so you didn't see it too much. You can see a few of them, but on the cream cardstock I found it wasn't really a big deal. So I attached those to my card and then I trimmed off the edges that were overlapping, and that was the last embellishment there that I added to my card. So I hope you enjoyed this card today. All the links to the supplies are in the description below and also on my blog. Thank you so much for watching. You're welcome to subscribe to my blog, and I also have 2 cards that are created using JessicaLynnOriginal.com stamps. Thanks for watching.